If you still have orbs left over from Choose Your Legends, we have a legendary banner for August 2023. Today we'll be going over the 11 units on the banner briefly and discussing our new legendary hero. Our first legendary from Engage has arrived, and it's going to be Female Alear. Just a matter of when it was going to happen, but the devs have thrown us some curveball surprises. To solve the issue of too many Sword Lords in Fire Emblem, Alear is going to be a Green Infantry Dragon. However, spoiler warning, if you have not finished Engage and don't want to know anything about the endgame plot, then you kinda cannot look up anything about Alear's new skills here. I'm not going to go into details, but be warned, let us proceed. While legendary Female Alear is a dragon unit, she will not transform into a dragon. Instead, she's ready to throw hands with Engage's martial arts weaponry. It kinda works because of her weapon, but this potentially could put a pin in the whole will we get brawling gauntlets or art weapon types in Fae? Hopefully we still can, but I don't know. Now continuing on, legendary Alear is a fire pair-up legendary that boosts defense. See what they did there. For stats, everything seems to point toward a similar stat spread to the Sword Alear forms. Very fast unit with okay defense and res. Will Alear get a trainee boost for being a quote-unquote dragon avatar like Corrin? I guess we'll see. Now, Alear's weapon is the Dragon's Fist, which is actually on her person in the artwork, which is neat. However, this is another spoiler detail, and I don't want to talk about it because while legendary Alear is in her promoted class, well, that's not enough to get the Dragon's Fist in-game. As a weapon though, in Fae, reminder, this is a Dragonstone, 11 might, excited specials, and Alear gets brave attacks for both phases. I think this is our first brave dragon weapon. At start of combat, if Alear has more than 25% HP, she gets +5 stats, inflicts debuffs on the foe stats, and reduces damage from AoE specials and first attacks by 40%. First attacks, which should have an S, include the first 2 brave hits. As for the debuffs Alear inflicts, X is equal to the number of allies from distinct titles within 3 spaces of Alear times 3 plus 4. Max of -10 to all stats if Alear has 2 nearby allies from the different games. First off, Dragon's Fist is similar to Alear's Liberation. Instead of speed and defense debuffs, it's now all 4 stats. Instead of dodge damage reduction, Alear gets a steady 40%, but for the first attacks only. Now, this Alear doesn't have no follow-up either, so you do want that ability to not get hit by follow-ups. On top of this, you got slaying brave hits that do magic damage. With a potential +15 stat swing for Alear, she can definitely do some damage. Now, to go on a tangent, does this implementation of martial arts from Engage mean we won't ever get gauntlets or art weapon types in Fae? The devs have kinda cheated here because Dragon's Fist does magic damage in Engage, so it kinda works as a Dragonstone weapon in Fae. On one hand, it doesn't look good for my martial master dreams for Fram and Fae. On the other, it's at least some kind of brawling representation. Even if it's a more creative implementation, I do hope we get more brawling type units in Fae. For her unique skill, Alear has the Dragon Blast special. Again, Alear does not get Dragon Blast from her promoted class. More spoilers. Now in Fae, Dragon Blast will be a 3 cooldown regular Astro type special, boosting damage by 50% speed. It then has a couple very strong effects. If Alear is on a team with their support partner, then when either of their specials trigger, they both will get DR piercing effects. This won't work for area effect specials. Now the third part is that if Alear is within 3 spaces of their support and either Alear or the foe's special is ready or has triggered, then she reduces the next attack by 40% once per combat, also excluding AoEs. Dragon Blast is very cool, but requires Alear to have support partner on the team to simulate engaging with them. This means on defense teams, Alear loses a good bit of value since support mechanics are not active. When in your hands though, Dragon Blast will fully pierce any non-special skills, and the secondary damage reduction part is unpierceable 40% DR. The description is basically the same as the Armored Beacon and Flow specials, except there's no range requirement. Alear can block melee or ranged hits. While personal usage is fantastic, Dragon Blast is actually an incredibly strong support, well, for Alear's support partner. She can give any unit in the game the ability to pierce DR skills when their specials trigger. That is super valuable in today's game. It's not like we just got a crazy new Sword Cavalier who can double proc her own unique special 2 hits in a row. Suffice to say, but Harmonic Iris Double Supreme Astro will be disgusting with this effect. However, that applies to just about every unit who doesn't have access to skills like the Terrifying No Follow-Up or Special Sprout 4 or the DR Piercing class specials. It is restrictive, but it's probably a good thing that this effect is tied to the support mechanic. It is very strong. Now, with accelerated specials and a strong special, Alear would love some cooldown reduction to go with it. Attack and speed pledge will be her answer. This new inheritable C skill is very similar to the Oath 4 skills. We don't know what skills will be its prerequisite, but since it doesn't have a 4 in the name, I assume it's going to branch off from something else. Hopefully it is just Attack and Speed 03. Attack and Speed Pledge states, at start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants +6 Attack and Speed field buffs and the Breath type cooldown status to the unit for 1 turn. If the unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grant an extra +3 Attack and Speed during combat. Pledge really is just Oath 4, but replaces the warp status with a cooldown status. It's going to work on both phases, which is excellent, and it's a nice option if you don't need warping. It's a bit more defensive in that aspect. Now, Oath 4 skills are only for infantry and flyers. If Pledge is an offshoot of that skill, it may follow suit, but like we saw with the Alarm C skills branching from Rouse, the inheritance restrictions could change. We'll just have to see. At least for now, any melee infantry would seem to be a safe assumption. Let's now tie Legendary Alear's kit together. First off, accelerated specials plus brave attacks. If she fights near her allies from distinct titles, you can get a 15 stat swing advantage. Alear has Breath type cooldown from Pledge, plus more attack and speed. This means the first punch will charge Dragon Blast, second will proc it, and you'll get the extra damage and healing from attack and speed finish 4. If Alear is engaged with their support on that field, then Dragon Blast pierces DR skills. On the defensive side of things, Alear has 3 DR sources. Dragon's Fist has 40% DR for first attacks. Alear has Nelsie Disrupt 4, which is another 30% DR, plus you're going to neutralize sweep effects. Last, Dragon Blast has the unpierceable 40% DR for 1 hit if any special is ready from Alear or the foe. Slightly more DR pierce resistant than her sword form, plus she has more attack deals than her weapon. As a dragon, Alear's brave attacks do magic damage, plus she has that adaptive damage versus ranged foes. With Nelsie Disrupt, she could use the distant counter Sacred Seal for some fun. You will need to watch out for dragon effectiveness though, and being green doesn't help versus the million falchions out there. While Nelsie Disrupt ain't bad, it's probably the most replaceable skill in Alear's kit. Like her base form, you still do want no follow-up, and if you were to run magic no follow, then not only does that protect her from slow free follow-ups, but you open the door to quad attacks with more DR piercing potential. If you don't care about Fire Sweep, then Counter Roar would be a fun replacement. You get the same -4 attack and speed debuffs and 30% DR, but Counter Roar's DR protects against brave hits like Dragon's Fist. You then will have the 30% reflect counter plus 7 HP healing for more sustain, not bad. If you want to ensure Dragon Blast procs, then Temple for no guard would be fun. For pure damage output, lows are a simple and effective option. Worth noting, since Alear's unique skill is her special, she's open to any new passives that may come out. That's a pretty good perk to have, especially for an infantry unit. Overall, Legendary Female Alear looks like a fun unit, a lot of damage reduction, a lot of stat swings, and some very strong effects if you have a support partner. Her ability to give anyone DR piercing specials is completely unique. Luckily, you don't have to worry about this for AI defense teams. I'm a bit sad we aren't getting an outright martial arts weapon type in Fae yet, but I appreciate the creative implementation by tying Dragon's Fist into Alear's dragon lineage. Kind of like with Legendary Shez, I like the fun approach to avoiding the sword-carrying protagonist issue, although you could solve that easily by just not making every dang new Fire Emblem protagonist a sword user in the first place. Just a thought. For the rest of this video, we'll talk about the 11 other units on the banner. For red, we have Embla, Syrene, and Lucia. Blue has Nott, Legendary Fae, and Anankos. Green has our new Alear, Legendary Robin, and Legendary Ninian. Colorless has Ashera, Rearmed Tana, and regular Lady Rhea. For the red group, Mythic Embla is back. She's a dark mythic, red beast flyer with good offensive stats. Embla is mainly used for her Syrene C skill. She inflicts the undefended and feud statuses on foes from long range. Feud as a status is still rare and blocks ally support skills from helping the target. Undefended is the anti-savior effect, maybe just a little bit relevant. Severance will also cleanse Embla's penalties for her, plus give her the dot status. From her weapon, she's going to get accelerated specials, plus our stats, inflict up to -9 debuffs, and depending on how many enemies are nearby, she can also get defensive no follow-up and guard. To get 3 movement, Beast Agility will let Embla transform at all times, plus if she outspeeds, she'll get offense and no follow-up. Still the only unit with this skill if you want it. You then got Attack and Speed Clash 4 for the long range initiations. Next, we have Syrene, a sword flyer with high speed and res. Her Freya Blade has accelerated specials, plus 5 stats, inflicts debuffs based on 50% speed at start of combat. She'll get offense and a follow-up and has 40% DR for 1 hit. Syrene will be a Pegasus Flight 4 user. Still a rather niche skill, it does add start of combat speed and res checks to inflict attack and defense debuffs, and it can give a fall denial as well now. Sadly, since the stack checks are at start of combat, speed and res catch 4 does not help at all here. Syrene is the only unit with this niche stat variant as well. Last up is Lucia, who is quite an annoying unit. She's a sword master, but if you hate all the fancy new skills and reliance on specials, then Lucia is for you. Queen's Blade grants +5 stats, 20% speed as true damage, and 30% DR versus all attacks. It then disables a lot of things for both Lucia and the enemy. No one can activate specials, even AoEs. You then disable defensive terrain, support effects, any follow-up effects, fire sweep, and attack priority changes such as desperation. Last, Lucia and the foe cannot get ally support effects in combat. If you want extra buffs, status effects are needed. Kinda like Diamant, literally game-breaking effects from Lucia here. To empower her further, she's going to have Repel 4 for dodge, but I've seen talk of the new Gambit 4 with Miracle for her, 50% DR and 15 extra true damage, yikes. Now for other skills, Lucia has Harsh Command Plus, Life and Death 4, and even Tempest. None of these are really the best for Lucia outside certain strategies. Gambit just seems so disgusting at the moment. Overall though, Red's a slight gamble, as Syrene isn't exactly the best side prize to get overall. However, Lucia and Embla are both fine units with good fodder. For the blue group, we have Mythic Nott, a lance infantry with good balance of stats. She's a dark mythic, famous for her Pathfinder ability, letting allies move across her space for free. For combat, her weapon will give +5 stats with bonus doubler. Her beat skill grants 40% dodge with -5 attack and speed debuffs. For fodder, you can get the always nice distant counter and attack and speed menace at the same time. Next is Legendary Fae, a blue infantry dragon with some good tankiness. Her weapon inflicts -5 debuffs on the foe, grants a follow-up denial, and guard. Her unique Life Unending special is a miracle that pre-charges itself on turn 1. After it triggers, Fae will get a full heal after combat, so she's a literal 2-phase raid boss. This only works one time though. For other skills, we got Distant Stance for extra resistance, and we have Defense Menace. Fae then has Dragon's Ire 3, which is still pretty rare. Sadly, it's not the tier 4. Last, we have Fallen Anankos, a blue armored dragon. Anankos is quite fast, and their Silent Breath activates specials and grants +5 stats. It has the in-combat panic effect and grants 20% speed as true damage with 7 flat DR for first attacks. Anankos then pairs this with 3 speed-based skills. Kestrel stands 3 for guard. He's the only unit with Savvy Fighter 4, which adds debuffs, an easier speed check, and higher DR. Last, you got attack and speed near save 3. If you wanted that specific save skill, Rearmed Grima is on the Hero Fest banner for a few more days. Blue group has some good amount of fodder. 2 out of the 3 units can get you DC with a menace skill, and Anankos has some nice speedy armor skills. For the green group, this is where you can get legendary Female Alear. Red plus blue equals green, naturally. We talked about her enough, but she has great fodder as well. Attack and speed finish 4, staple infantry A skill. Nullsea District 4 has more general usage now, but it's mainly to deny sweep effects. I think its value is higher now due to Brave Soren. Instead of just Ascended Fjorm, you can have a far-saving ranged infantry unit with this skill. Works for near save as well. Last, Attack and Speed Pledge is brand new. It's basically a side grade to Oath Force trading warping for cooldown reduction. Hopefully it's a little branch from that skill line. Even if you don't want Alear though, she's going to have excellent fodder all around. I'm sure some may not want Alear, but are going to summon green anyway, because Legendary Male Robin is back again. He's a green infantry mage with a more balanced defensive spread for a mage, and like his brave counterpart, he has some great strategies to empower his team. He's been quite a menace this year because he gives his team Grand Strategy plus self-inflicts debuffs on them. Grand Strategy is basically a unity effect, and the genius of Robin's plan is that the enemy can't really counter it. They can counteract some of the numbers, but then his A skill is also a unity effect. Stacking unity can snowball heavily, and if you like using unity based units, Legendary Robin is kinda a must-have. For other parts of his kit, he can inflict -13 debuffs on the foe, plus -3 field debuffs that spread out. From his unity effects, he's going to essentially give himself +12 to all stats on top. Robin will have Omnibreaker and Accelerate specials. You can get Guard from Seal Attack 4, and you get Console Control for support. He's an excellent team player, and quite frankly a bulky unit himself who can be pretty fast too. He's another candidate for the new Flare special. Last, we have another fun unit, Legendary Ninian. She's a green cavalry dragon dancer with some okay offensive stats. This Ninian has a unique dragon dance that lets her move again if used after turn 1. It even gives plus 6 attack and speed, but it has a long 3-turn cooldown on that effect. Now from her weapon, when dance is used, Ninian will emit a -6 defense res debuff to the closest foes within 4 spaces. If you attack with Ninian, she gets another plus 6 attack and speed, offense and a follow-up, and if she has triangle advantage or the foe has a penalty active, she will prevent their counterattack. Ideally, Legendary Ninian can pull off some crazy moves if you dance, buff and debuff, then attack in the same turn. She has ways to stay safe, and she has speed and res near trace to retreat as well. She doesn't have the craziest combat power, but she has second speed catch 4 and blue feud to try and put a dent in enemies. It does require a little bit of planning, but extra actions are always powerful, and Ninian is a 3 movement dancer anyway. For those that want Legendary Alear, now's a great time to try. Robin has been a powerful unit this year, and many will be going for him specifically. Ninian ain't bad either, and is unique as a more offensive dancer. This group also has incredible fodder skills all around. For Colorless, our one mythic is Ashera. She's an Ashera colorless infantry mage with decent speed and res. With her C skill, Ashera hands out plus 6 second res field buffs and the no panic status. Her weapon then grants plus 5 stats and bonus attack equal to the highest total field buffs on a nearby ally. It's like a blade tome effect, but using ally buffs. For skills, Ashera has attack and res ideal 4 and low speed and res 3. Not bad skills, but nothing super special here. Next, we're gonna have returning Rearmed hero. Rearmed Tana is a colorless flying archer with fantastic offensive stats, even higher than Alcris for comparison. Tana will have the Arcane Nastrum bow, which is the more all-around arcane bow and usable by the slower archers out there. It has accelerated specials, plus 5 stats, a free follow-up attack, and 30% DR for 1 hit. It then grants bonus attack based on the foe's max special value. The lower the better, up to plus 10 attack. For her unique Soaring Wings B skill, Tana will get Kanto 1 and 2 space warping. She then inflicts speed and defense debuffs based on spaces moved up to -8 total. She will have nice fodder like Deadeye and attack and speed unity, but Guidance 4 is also very powerful. Soaring Guidance may be better overall if you like flyers, but if you want army units to get into the action, then this is the skill. Both are also going to ferry infantry units as well. Last up, we have regular, plain old Lady Rhea. This one is a colorless infantry dragon, and she's going to stay true to the min-maxed, slow tanky stat spread. Her weapon has accelerated specials, plus 5 stats, a free follow-up, guard, and then flat DR equal to 30% res, but for follow-up attacks only. Rhea will keep True Dragon Wall, which is a stronger 60% DR for first encounters, then reverting to the usual 40% after. If you pair Rhea with a dragon or beast ally, she's going to heal 7 HP after combat and at start of every turn as well. For fodder, we have one option, but Rhea is still the only source of attack and res scout 4. Dragon Oni A skill that adds +1 to special counts if you win a res check. Scowl can counter pre-charged special abusers, which is great in today's game. However, Brave Robin's new Rally Spectrum can flip the matchup back in favor of the attacker. Rally Spectrum can counteract Scowl. Scowl itself does mess up Robin's Ignis strategy, but for other pre-charging nukers like say Legendary Male Byleth, he will once again be able to fire off Sublime Heaven instantly. Scowl is still good, but if you run into Brave Robin on a team, you may not be enough. Overall, Colorless is alright. Obviously any rearmed hero is valuable, but we got 2 pretty rare skills here in Guidance 4 and that Scout A skill. That'll be it for this month's Legendary Banner. They are going for the wallet with this one. That green group is super enticing. Robin is good, maybe great even, and Alear obviously is our new main protagonist, plus she's got a pretty fun and interesting kit. They actually are trying to stay relatively spoiler free, but I do want to talk about what this form of Alear kind of means for engaged units as a whole. I will do so in my pinned comment if you want to hear some extra thoughts. With that said, let me know your thoughts on our newest legendary hero or the banner in general. Good luck if you plan to summon, and I will see you in the next video.